Good afternoon, students. I welcome you all for the class. Today, in this session, we'll be going to study another processor like that is a DMA controller. So we have seen in the memory organization unit or else memory schedulings. There we have seen already what is a DMA, what is the circuitry of a DMA. So everything we have seen. What is the purpose of the DMA we have seen in that unit. And today in this session, we'll be going to talk about DMA controller, which is also called as 8257. So in this fourth unit and fifth unit, as I have said you, we are going to see many of the processes. Like in the previous class, we have seen 8259, like a PIC, Programmable Interrupt Controller we have seen. And today we are going to see regarding this DMA controller, which we call it as an 8257. Fine. So let me start DMA controller. So what do you mean by DMA, first of all? So we have seen that DMA is different and DMA controller is different. So let me tell you what do you mean by the DMA. So this DMA is direct memory access. This DMA stands for direct memory access. So what is the task of this DMA? This DMA is used to transfer the block of data. It is used to transfer block of data without the intervention of CPU. So data without CPU. So if we want to transfer any sort of data, we need a central processing unit in order to transfer the data from IO to memory or memory to IO. Fine. So in order to transfer any sort of data, like we need a central processing unit so that this CPU can handle the data and it is going to send to IO or to the memory or from memory to the IO, whatever it may be. So CPU intervention will be there when we are going to talk normally in order the transfer of data. But when it comes to DMA, so as the name itself indicates, direct memory access. We can access the memory directly without the intervention of CPU. Intervention is nothing but involvement of CPU. So here CPU is not involved over here. Directly we are going to transfer the data. So that is a DMA. So what do you mean by DMA controller in the sense? So this DMA controller is the unit. It is one unit that controls the activity of accessing memory. Fine. That controls the activity of accessing memory. So that is DMA controller. So that is the difference between the DMA and DMA controller. So DMA is nothing but it is the one which is used to transfer the block of data without the involvement of CPU. And we can transfer bulk amount of data. So why we are not involving the CPU in the sense if CPU has involved, it is going to take much of the time. We can't transfer the bulk amount of data at a time. So that is the reason what we are going to do is in order to transfer bulk amount of data, we are completely making the CPU idle, taking the control of buses from the CPU, then the CPU will become slave and then DMA will become the master. So as now DMA is the master, it is having all the responsibilities, all the authority to transfer the data between the peripheral devices and the memory. So all these things is going to be controlled by the DMA controller. So what do you mean by a DMA controller in the sense? It is a unit that controls the activity of accessing the memory. So that is the DMA controller. So that is the difference between the DMA and the DMA controller. So the hardware part, which is going to control all the activities, we call it as a DMA controller. Fine. So what is DMA? DMA is an operation in which data is copied. So copied, or we can say it as and transmitted from one resource to another resource. One resource may be of IO, another may be of memory. or vice versa of a computer without the involvement of CPU. This has to be noted. This point has to be noted. So what is the task of DMA controller in the sense? It is to execute the copy of operation from one resource to another location to another. Here, the copy of data can be from IO to memory device, or memory device to IO, memory to memory, or IO device to IO. Any of the four operations can be handled. We can transfer from IO device to memory. We can transfer the data from memory to IO device, or we can transfer the data from memory to memory, or from IO device to IO device. So these are the four possible ways of in which we can transfer the bulk amount of data. So here, or this DMA is independent in the sense without the intervention of CPU. We call it as an independent. So this DMAC replaces the CPU for the transfer task of data. That is the major purpose of this DMAC. DMAC is nothing but DMA controller. DMAC is the shortcut of DMA controller. We normally DMA is DMA. When we included C, we call it as an DMA controller. Here, this DMAC, this means the DMA controller replaces the CPU for the transfer. So this replacement is going to be an high importance. When we want to transfer the bulk amount of data, we are replacing the CPU. We are making the CPU as a slave and DMA as the master, and we are going to transfer the data from DMA to the any other memory location, or to IO or memory, memory to memory, or IO to IO. So that is the major important thing. So how this DMA is going to be initialized? So this DMA requires initialization by the software. So here, how this DMA is going to be placed in the sense, here the CPU will be there. Fine. So here, this DMA will be there. And here, this IO devices, input output devices will be there. What this suppose, and here the memory will be there. So this is the memory. So here, what this DMA is going, if suppose IO is going to request for transfer of data to DMA, what this DMA is going to do is, DMA will request the CPU to release the buses. Why? Because all the buses, system bus, we call it as a system bus. What do you mean by a system bus? System bus is a combination of address bus, data bus, and the control bus. Now, all the system bus is under the control of CPU. Now, DMA requesting the CPU to release the buses. What the CPU will be doing? CPU will send the acknowledgement signal. So, which acknowledgement? Okay, I am releasing the buses. Now, you take control over the buses. Now, after releasing, this system bus will be under the control of DMA. Now, this DMA is going to act as a master, and this CPU is going to act as a slave. These are the two modes. So as this DMA is a master, so it is completely neglecting this CPU, and this DMA is directly transferring the data to the memory, or this DMA can directly transfer the data from memory to the IO devices. So this is the actual working. How this DMA is going to be initialized in the sense, initialized by the software. So here the base address of the source area we have to given, like base address of the destination area we have to given, what is the length of the block we have to give, and whether the DMA controller should generate an interrupt once the block transfer is complete. So all these things we have to provide as an input to this DMA, or else we don't know whether to initialize the DMA or not. So that is the main purpose. Here, this 8257 offers three different modes of operation. So what are the three different modes of operation in the sense? The first mode is DMA read, and second mode is DMA write, and the third mode is DMA verify. So these are the three different modes of operation. First is read mode, second is write mode, and third one is verify mode. So when it is in read mode, so it is going to transfer the data from memory to the peripherals. When it is a read mode, we'll be going to transfer the data from memory to peripheral devices. What are peripheral devices? The input, the output devices, we call it as a peripheral devices. So when it is in write mode, the data used to be transferred from peripheral devices to the memory, reverse order. So read mode in the sense from memory to peripheral devices, we are going to transfer the data. When it is in write mode in the sense from the peripheral device to the memory, we are going to transfer the data. When it is verify mode, it does not actually involved in transferring of data. So only read mode and write mode, we are going to transfer the data. When it comes to the verify mode, we are not at all going to transfer the data. So these are the three different modes of operation. Fine. And I'll be going to show you the architecture of DMA. So this is the DMA architecture. So today in this class, we'll be going to see regarding the DMA architecture as well as the pin diagram of DMA controller. So 8257 architecture, DMA controller architecture, and a DMA controller pin diagram we'll be going to see. So here, so these are the four. These four. This is a channel 1. This is a channel 2, or else we can say it as 0, 1. This is a channel 2, and this is a channel 3. We can say it as 0 to 3 or 1 to 4 channels. So here these are 4 channels. 4 channels. So DMA controller, each channel can be programmed independently. So this is independent. Channel 0 is independent of channel 1, 2, and 3. Channel 2 is independent of channel 0, 1, and 3. Like each channel is independent of one another. So here, like it can, each channel can transfer up to 64 KB of data. So each channel can transfer up to 64 KB of data. And here each channel includes a 16-bit address bus. Here 16-bit address bus, and we are having this counter, CNTR is counter, and 14-bit counter. So each channel is going to have 16-bit address bus and 14-bit counter. So like this, we are having 4 channels, channel 0 to channel 3 or channel 1 to channel 4. So here DMA address register gives the address of the memory location, and counter specifies the number of DMA cycles to be performed. That is the purpose of the DMA 16-bit address register and the counter register. I'm telling you again. So here this 16-bit address bus. So 16-bit address register, what it is going to do is, it will be going to give the address of the memory location. This address of memory location it can provide. And 14-bit counter register is going to, what it is going to do is, like this counter specifies the number of DMA cycles to be performed. Number of DMA cycles to be performed. So that is the counter. Counter, even one cycle is performed, it is going to be decremented by 1. Like that, this DMA counter, how many cycles we need to perform, is going to be tell by this DMA counter, and memory address is going to be given by this 16-bit address register. Like this, we are having 4 channels and 4 16-bit registers and 4 counters we are having. So here, as counter is a 14-bit, each channel can transfer up to 2 power 14 kilobytes. So here, this counter is like it can transfer up to 2 power 14. 2 power 14 in the sense 16 kilobytes of memory we can transfer at a time without the intervention of the microprocessor. Fine, we can transfer. Like it maintains the DMA cycle count for each channel and activates the control signal, that a terminal count to indicate the peripheral, that program and number of DMA cycles, how many DMA cycles has been programmed or not, that is going to be done by this counter register. So here it provides another here it provides this mark signal. What is the purpose of this mark signal? In the sense, like this mark signal, like when we are going to have 128 cycle, like RAM can store 128 bits, right? The RAM can store only 128 bits. After 128 cycles have been completed, it is going to mark the output. It provides another control signal mark to indicate the peripheral that the current DMA cycle is 128 cycles since the previous mark output. Fine. If 128 cycle is running, it is going to mark it. Like it has the priority resolver, like priority resolver. So here in this architecture, what it is going to happen is, here these 4 outputs, channel outputs, are connected to the IO devices, input output devices. Suppose it has connected to mouse, it has connected to printer, it has connected to keyboard, and it has connected to some scanner. So 4 outputs are connected to 4 peripheral devices. So suppose if we want, if this mouse, take an example of mouse, if this mouse wants to transfer data to the memory, what it is going to send is, it is going to send the DMA request to the DMA controller. What this DMA controller is going to do is, it is going to, here here we'll be going to connect the CPU. Fine. So here it is going to be connected. What this DMA controller is going to do is, it is going to ask the CPU to release the buses, and CPU will give the buses handover to this 8257 architecture. Then what it is going to do is, this without the intervention of this CPU, this DMA architecture or DMA controller is going to directly transfer the data to the memory or from the memory. This is the actually working. Here, what is the purpose of this priority resolver? In the sense, like out of these 4, 1 to 4 or 0 to 3, which is going to have the highest priority? So that will be going to that is going to be done by the priority resolver. So DR0 is having the highest priority. Here this DR0 is having the highest priority, and this DR3 is going to have the lowest priority. So based on the priority, we are going to keep the request. DR0 is having the highest, then DRQ is 3 is going to have the least priority. So this is how the operation or the working of this 8257 architecture is going to be done. So here this DRQ, these signals are connected to the input output devices. Suppose if input output device, any one of them want to transfer the data, it will request the DMA controller by sending the DR0 request. DRQ in the sense DMA request. It is asking for DMA request. So DMA will ask the CPU to release the buses. Once it is acknowledged, CPU is acknowledged. So CPU releases all the buses. When CPU releases all the buses, this DMA is going to be the master. As it is the master, it is going to give the DACQ, that means acknowledgement. Okay, I'll be going to transfer the data, like that. To mouse, it will acknowledge. After acknowledgementing, it is going to transfer the data without the involvement of the CPU. This is how the actual working of 8257 is going to be done. So here the functional block diagram consists of like these 5 components. So what are the 5 components in the sense? The first one is DMA channels. How many DMA channels? We are having 4 DMA channels. And the next block is the data bus buffer. And next one is the read write logic. And next one is the control logic and mode set register. And finally, we will be going to have the priority resolver. So we have known regarding all the components, like all these channels are going to be connected to the input output devices. Each channel is going to have a 16-bit address bus and the 14-bit counter. The 16-bit address is used to give the memory address 16-bit, and the counter is used to count the number of DMA cycles. So that is the purpose of this one. And the priority resolver, in the sense, by making giving the highest priority, like DRQ0 is going to have the highest priority, and DRQ3 is going to have the lowest priority. So based on this, it is going to keep the request accordingly. That is the priority resolver. Data bus buffer is connected to the CPU in order to transfer the data, and we'll be going to see all these pins in the pin diagram. Fine. This is how the working of 8257 architecture is going to be. These are the channels. Here, terminal count register. Here, TC is there now. TC. So TC stands for terminal count register. Here, the most significant 2 bits of the terminal count register specifies the DMA operation that has to be occur. So here, this is the diagram of terminal count register. Here, T1 and T0. This most significant, the MSBs, the most significant bits of this terminal count register, that is T1 and T0, specifies the operation. Here, if T1 and T0 are 0, 0, we are going to make the verify cycle. If it is 0, 1, we are going to do the write cycle. 1, 0 means read cycle, and 1, 1 means no operation is going to be done. So this is the format of this terminal count register. And now we'll be going to see the pin description. So here, we'll be going to have the 40 pin for this 8257 DMA controller. It is going to have the 40 pin. So we'll be going to see which pin is going to be used for what. Fine. So here, we'll be going to start first with the DRQ0 and DRQ3. Fine. So here, these are the 4 channels we are having, DRQ0 to DRQ3. So as I have said you, these are 4 independent request inputs. Request, RQ in the sense request. So 4 independent request inputs which are used by the peripheral devices. These are used by the peripheral devices for using what? For using the DMA, or for using the services of the DMA. Here, when the fixed priority mode is selected, that means then when DRQ0 has the highest priority and DRQ3 has the lowest priority among them. Fine, as I have said you. So these 3 are used for the peripheral devices in order to request the DMA, and DRQ0 is having the highest priority and DRQ3 is going to have the lowest priority. And next one is like come to this acknowledgement one. So these are the requests. DRQ is the request and DCK is the acknowledgement. So acknowledgement 0 and acknowledgement 1, DACK 0 and DACK 3. Fine. If you are going to send the request, in the sense, for that request acknowledgement should be also there. Fine. So these are the active low. Active low in the sense, here if it is 0 only, 0 complement means 1. So that we call it as an active low DMA acknowledgement lines. So these update the requesting peripheral about the status of the requests by the CPU, whether it is the CPU is free or CPU is busy. By sending these acknowledgement signals, we will be coming to know. And next one is D0 to D7 here. So D0 to D4, D5, D6 and D7. So what are these? These are bidirectional. See here, It is a bidirectional. We call it as a bidirectional. These are bidirectional data lines. D stands for data. These are bidirectional data lines. Like, what is the purpose of this is means these are used to interface the system bus with the internal data bus of DMA controller. That is the purpose of this thing. In which mode? In slave mode. In slave mode in the sense, now the CPU is the master. When it is, these are in slave mode, what is the purpose of this is, these are used to interface the system bus in the sense address bus, data bus, and control bus. These are used to interface the system bus with the internal data bus. System bus with the data bus. So these D0 to D7 will act as an interface. D0 to D7 will act as an interface between the system bus and the data bus when these are in the slave mode. Fine. Like it carries a command words also. What is the master and what is the slave. So in slave mode, it is going to act as an interface between the system bus and the data bus. But when it is in master mode, what it is going to do is, these lines are used to send higher byte of generated address. Master mode in the sense, higher byte address it is going to send to the latch. Fine. That is the purpose of this D0 to D7. Once I'm telling you, when it is the D0 to D7, it works in two modes, slave mode and the master mode. Slave mode in the sense, these pins acts as an interface between the system bus and the data bus. When these are in master mode, these pins are used to carry the higher byte address. Next one is IO read and IO write. Now come here. Next one is IO read. This is input output read operation. IO in the sense, IO input output read operation. This is also active low pin. It is an active low bidirectional tri-state input, we say. It helps to read the internal registers of this 8257. It is going to help in reading the internal registers of 8257 by the CPU in slave mode. As I have said, here the CPU will be connected over here. Fine. So in slave mode, it is going to help, like it is going to read. What it is going to read? It is going to read the internal registers of 8257 in slave mode. Fine. It is also in master mode, what it is going to do is, it helps in reading the data from the peripheral device during a memory write cycle. So during the memory write cycle, it helps in reading the data from memory. So these are the two modes. IO read in the sense input output read operation. In slave mode, it is going to read the internal registers of 8257 for the CPU. When it is in master mode, it helps in reading the data from the peripheral device during the memory write cycle. When it comes to the IO write, it is also an active low bidirectional tri-state line. It helps in loading the contents of the data bus into the 8-bit registers. In master mode, it is used to load the data to the peripheral devices during the DMA write cycle. Those are the things. Next one is clock. What do you mean by a clock? In the sense, it is a signal which is required to perform the internal operation of 8257. All internal operations are going to be done based on this clock signal only. And next one is CS. CS stands for chip select. CS stands for chip select. It is an active low. If it is 0, then this pin is going to be activated. So in the slave mode, it enables the read-write operations to or from the 8257. And in master mode, it automatically disables the read-write operations from 8257. So that is the purpose of this chip select. So remember, in slave mode, like it is enabling It is enabling read-write operations from 8257, from or to 8257. In master mode, it is disabling the read-write operations from or to 8257. That is the purpose of the chip select. And next one is A0 to A3. So what is the purpose of this A0 to A3 pins? So these are 4 least significant address lines. Least significant address lines. So in the slave mode, there are also 2 modes, in slave mode and the master mode. In the slave mode, they perform as an input, which selects one of the register to be read or to be write. In master mode, they are the outputs. Fine. This is the purpose of the pins A0 to A3, address pins A0 to A3. These it is going to carry 4 least significant address bits, address lines. 4 least significant address lines. In 2 modes, it is going to have. In slave mode, it they perform as an input, and in master mode, they perform as an output. And next one is A4 to A7. So here we are going to have A4 to A7. So these are the higher bits. Here, these are the least address significant bits. These are the higher bits. Fine. Generated by the DMA in master mode. In master mode. Fine. And next one is we'll be going for the ready pin. So what do you mean by a ready pin? It is an active high signal, like which helps the DMA to make ready by inserting the wait states. So that is the purpose of the ready signal. HRQ and HLDA. So here HRQ in the sense hold request. Hold request. What this is going to do is, like, it is hold the request signal sent from the output device. In slave mode, it is connected with a DRQ, and in master mode, it is connected with an hold signal. HLDA in the sense acknowledgement, hold acknowledgement. It indicates the DMA controller that the bus has been granted to the peripheral. So that is the acknowledgement signal. Next one is MEMR and MEMW, memory read and memory write. So MEMR means this is an active low signal, as we have seen, which is used to read the data from the addressed memory locations during DMA read cycles. When it comes to the memory write, it is also an active low signal, which is used to write the data to the DMA during write operation. So that is the memory read and the memory write. And next one is ADSTB. This signal is used to convert the higher byte of the memory address generated by the DMA control into latches. Higher order is going to be converted into latches. And AEN stands for address enable. So this is used to disable the address or the data bus. That is the purpose of this AEN. So AEN is, this is used to disable the address bus. Disable the address bus. This pin is used for disabling the address bus. And TC we have seen, right? So this TC, this one. So this is the TC. This signal stands for terminal count. It stands for terminal count, which indicates the present DMA cycle to present in the peripheral devices. How many, the count it is going to have. Mark in the sense when it has reached the 128 bits, then it is going to do the mark signal. And VCC is ground, means extra power will be sent to the ground, and VCC is a power supply which is given to the microprocessor in order to work. So this is how the pin diagram of 8257 is going to be having. So this is the brief introduction regarding this 8257 pin diagram, and you will be going to have the theory part of each and every pin in detail over here. You can study it later, fine. So as I have explained you, so by that explanation, you can get what is the working of each pin, so that by seeing that you can write the pin details of 40 pin details of this 8257 processor. And this is the terminal count register. Based on the T1 and T0, it is going to perform the different operations, whether it is has to perform the read operation, write operation, or the verify operation. So these are the blocks: DMA channels, data bus buffer, read write logic, control logic, priority resolver, and channels. And this is how the DMA controller is going to be working. Fine. DMA is the direct memory access, which is going to transfer a block of data from memory to IO, IO to memory, or memory to memory, or IO to IO without the involvement of CPU. The hardware unit which is going to control all the things is the DMA controller. The pin of this DMA controller is 8257. We call it as a DMA controller. This is how the working of the architecture, the working and the pin diagram of 8257, that is DMA controller, is as follows. Fine. And thank you all students. That's all for today's class. Have a great day.